That was Estudio in E minor by Tarrega. Follow the lesson for free and pick up all the tips for this piece. But if you're interested, I do have a sheet music edition of this work, and there's a link for that in the description. On the website, I have an individual sheet music selection of this work, but I also have, this piece also exists in my grade 4 repertoire lessons book, in which case you get a couple of pages of prep material before, and there's a separate video for that. So today's lesson is for just the individual selection, but you can learn from both videos. They're both available. This is a great little piece, minor key, very enticing to students, has a strong melody in the top voice, embedded in these beautiful arpeggios. So lots of things to discuss in terms of technique and musicality in that regard. This piece has been attributed to Tarrega, and I've seen it in just so many, it's just widely published. It's in tons of books. I haven't yet seen the manuscript, nor have I found anyone who has seen it. And I've asked around to a lot of editors and publishers about that. So I'm going to say it's attributed to Tarrega, but until I see that manuscript, I'm not 100% convinced. Not that it matters. Beautiful piece, and it's been attributed to Tarrega very widely. So a couple of tasks in this piece for the student. There's a clear melody in the top voice that's usually played with the A finger. Well, it is played with the A finger. So you can practice that melody on its own. And just make sure you have it phrased the way you want it, just really getting that pretty melody. And then when you add the other notes in, you just want to retain that high quality melody on top. And in terms of the musical hierarchy here, we have the melody on the top. We want to make sure that A finger comes out of the texture and that that the listener really hears that melody clearly. So melody on top of the hierarchy, and then the bass voice. You want a certain amount of cushion to the sound, and it sustains the harmony through the whole measure. So melody, bass, and then accompaniment, which is usually played with M and I here. So we want that M and I finger to be pretty soft so that the melody can come out. The bass and the melody are so far apart that they won't interfere with each other too much. But that accompaniment, we want that really soft. Usually for students, if they just do a deeper follow through with the A finger, that melody will pop out. Like as just an experiment, you could actually touch your palm afterwards, and doing that deeper stroke is usually enough to bring that melody out nicely. Plus, if you soften up the M and the I finger, then that melody will pop even if you don't bring it out too much. So it's a combination of bringing it out, softening up the accompaniment. A slightly more advanced way of practicing it could be to do rest stroke with that finger. Some students will have trouble doing a rest stroke with the thumb and the A finger. But, just as a practice method, doing a rest stroke, and then when you switch back to free stroke, usually that finger will have some muscle memory of playing a deeper stroke, or at least being singled out as important. So that's an option available to you as well. But when I actually play the piece, I generally do all free stroke, except maybe the thumb, if some students may wish to rest stroke with the thumb. But I generally play it all free stroke. So that's it. Bring out that melody, phrase it nicely, have that musical hierarchy of bringing that melody out of the texture, and then the rest is just some little things in the left hand. So let's do a walkthrough of the piece, and we'll just discuss those as we go. That G in the top on the beginning of measure 2 is a non-chord tone. It doesn't belong there, and it resolves to that F. So you can bring it out and then resolve. Students generally have trouble with this bar chord. I have separate lessons on on bar technique on the lesson page on the site, so you can check that out and get all my tips. Just as a quick reminder, let the weight of the arm contribute towards the bar so that you're not clamping. Like, you can play bar chords without the thumb, right? So you can play it without the thumb, but it does, we do use our thumb as like an anchor point and just using a little bit of grip there. But we don't want to do a vice grip where we're clamping really hard. So the weight of the arm can really contribute towards the energy transfer to the strings. The other thing is to keep the finger very aligned and keeping all those strings close to the fret. If students are like misaligned, you can see the inner strings there wouldn't be close to the frets. Or if they're like this, these strings aren't close to the frets. And it can be really deceiving for students from this angle to think that they're close to the frets. But then the teacher looks in and they're like, actually, that's not close to the fret. So those two factors really help with your bar technique. But of course, check out the lessons I have on the site for that. Just continuing on from there, from measure 3. A little bit of vibrato is nice on that top note. Starts again. When you get to the end of that phrase, soft. Just because it's the end of the phrase, you don't want to do that. You have the 5 chord here, which is the tension chord. And then resolution. Resolution is going to be softer. Second section. Let's just use the 3. We don't have to get a lot of glissando or something like that, but we're just going to use our third finger as a guide. So keeping it on that string and getting up to that 7th fret, which sets up the bar, the half bar here. You do have to shift down from there, which can sometimes be disruptive for students. But just that memory of the third finger being on that string, just keep your third finger aligned there. A little bit of that's why it's in like the grade 4 areas, a little bit of navigating to do while holding the bass notes there. Nothing serious, but I find those harmonics, Tarrega uses harmonics in his piece a lot. I find ending the piece like that with the harmonics one of the reasons why I'm not even 100% sure that it's Tarrega, or if that's just something that's been added on over the decades. Nevertheless, it is kind of nice. Lots of opportunity in this piece to work on musical balance, bringing that melody out. Really nice piece in terms of the level, because lots of navigating of the fretboard, lots of sweet spots with the melody. The guitar really sings up here. So that's really great for students. That bar chord at the 2nd fret often gives students trouble, but it's a great opportunity to work on it because it only lasts for a very short period of time. And if you use that advice of using the weight of your arm a little bit more, you might find you can relax in and out of the bar with less tension, because it's the tension that usually gets to students in a piece like this. But remember, it's bar on, bar off. And as precision and alignment is the most important thing. Using the weight of your arm takes a lot of tension out of the situation, a lot of out of your hand. And then you'll find that you can navigate this piece. But if we consider it at the grade 4 level, you want to have your bar chords under control, or at least starting to really come under control. So it's time to do that. And the other thing I'll say is that when we're trying to improve a technique, what do? Well, we practice technique exercises every day. So a lot of people will complain that their bar chords aren't good, but then I'll ask them, do you practice bar technique exercises every day? And they often say no. So we must practice them in order to improve. And exercises, tend to make the experience easier on us while also working on precision more. So it's not just a question of playing bar chords more often, it's a question of doing exercises that encourage you to improve them while not stressing out the hand. And again, 2 minutes a day, or 30 seconds to 2 minutes a day of bar chord exercises is not too much to ask in your practice session. So dedicate that time toward it. And then enjoy this wonderful piece with a beautiful melody in the top voice that navigates the guitar quite nicely.